Being desperate is something that most people avoid. They think desperation is a weakness. And I'm here to tell you, desperation is one of the most powerful emotions you could possibly possess, because when you're desperate, you find reserves and reservoirs of ideas, talents, and a strength that you don't know you have when you find yourself in a desperate situation. So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate.
Life is hard. Everything worth doing is hard. There is no easy path. And so many of you spend so much time, so much energy, and get yourself so frustrated searching for the easy way to get what you want, when in reality, if you just accept it, everything worthwhile is hard, and just stop beating your head against the wall looking for the easier, quicker, faster, freer way, it makes the path that much easier, because now you know the game that you're playing.
You are today who you decided to be. Every negative thing about you is because you have limited yourself. You were set apart for greatness. You were set apart to be limitless. You were set apart to change this world.
Listen, pain is temporary, losses is temporary, setbacks are temporary. But giving up is forever. So never be good with good enough when you know inside you lives someone better. You didn't come this far just to settle. You didn't come this far just to accept whatever. You came this far to take it to your next level. You came this far to become something greater. With each heartbeat, you have one less heartbeat to love. You have one less heartbeat for somebody to love you. You have one less heartbeat to succeed. You have one less heartbeat to share your success with somebody else. You have one less heartbeat to care about somebody. You have one less heartbeat for somebody to care about you. Be careful who you share those heartbeats with. You cannot stay in environments where people don't know the true value of you. If you stay in environments where people don't recognize the value of you, you will shrink your gift to the size of what they can stand.
A lot of us are facing some of the hardest things that we've ever gone through in our life. And I want to remind you, as you walk through these times, that there is a gift in this for you. What feels like is completely tearing you down is actually building you up. I know it's hard. I know it's dark. I know it's sad. I know that you're so ready to move on to this next chapter. But you got to keep moving forward. Because in retrospect, down the road, you're going to look back and realize that this season made you. It didn't break you. And at the same time, there will be a realization of the gift that was given to you.
Everything you want will be found on your way to the top, not once you get there. The character, the discipline, the consistency, the self-respect, none of those things come with achieving the goal. They all come from the journey. Goals give you direction, but your commitment to the process will give you happiness and fulfillment. So commit to the vision, and wherever it takes you, just make sure you enjoy the ride.
Why not you? Why not you? With good self-esteem, why not you starting to change and setting goals?
You are not your past. You're you. You're you right now. Like the past you did, you might have done some things you wish you hadn't done. Don't dwell on that. You learn from it, that's fine, but don't dwell on it. Just keep moving. Keep moving. You know, use it as fuel. Say never again. You know, I get what I did wrong, but don't think that you're that person that made those mistakes. You're the person who's learned.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way.
Imagine where you would be in a year if you actually focused on the things that make you better. if you actually start doing things and you actually take action. Imagine how far you would be, bro. If you really locked in, if you really stay focused, your mindset is not on the things that you want in life.
The fastest way to losing yourself is to try and make everyone else happy. The best thing you can do is be a true north. Be you. Shine your light. Know what your core values are. Know what your belief system is. Know what your morals and your character should be. And live by that.
The road to paradise starts in hell. You have to take that bus ride, that walk, that crawl, that flight, whatever it may be, back to hell consistently. Because here's the thing. If hell comes visits you, and it visits a lot of people, it's not going to leave. And your hell is what you're willing not to acknowledge. You're not willing to acknowledge who you are, what your darkness is, what fuels you.
If you're not engaged in your life, it's because you haven't picked a dragon of sufficient merit. Is that if you haven't found meaning in your life, it's because you haven't taken on a big enough burden. That's a strange thing. It's a strange thing that that's true, but I think it's the closest to truth that we have.
Purpose of life is not just to get your goals. Your goals or you're getting what you want doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy is who you become in pursuit of those goals. So the growth, the progress, even if you don't achieve it yet, but you start losing weight, or you start building muscle, or you start making your relationship better, or you start to build a business, the progress is what makes you feel alive, because we're all made to either grow or die. If your relationship's not growing, it's dying. If your business is not growing, it's dying. There's no in-between shit. That doesn't work.
And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become.
It's not like you're guaranteed to kill it. Nobody is ever guaranteed to kill it. But if you don't try, then you definitely won't. If you get after it, you got a chance. You got to fight the chance for sure. But if you never do, then what's the point of even thinking to expect any sort of results?
It all starts with who you are, because who you are is your character. And your character is an accumulation of your thoughts, your habits, and your priorities on a day-to-day basis, because those three things determine the choices you make, and the choices you make you who you are. Good guy, bad guy, hardworking, lazy, responsible, irresponsible. And it takes a certain amount of discipline to do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way it's supposed to get done.
How long can you stay in that pool? How far can you run? How much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit? Or how far can you keep going? There's a purity in that. It dissolves social order, all that shit. What people think about you goes out the window. And who are you right now? Who are you right now?
But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And if you do that and you don't allow the shame and the regret and the heaviness of what you just went through, if you don't allow that to stop you and you just keep going, all that crap that you're covered in, it starts to fall off it starts to fall away, and eventually you're good again. You cannot allow that to stop you. And that is what stops most people. It's regret. It's shame. It's the pile of crap they had to walk through 10 years ago that they created, and because of that, they never do anything with the rest of their freaking life, man.
The only way to mitigate not being successful is to not quit. If you don't quit, you might make it.
But there's a hell of a lot more to you than you think. Like, way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There's enough to cope with the trouble of the world.
If you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it. Really, really. The problem is you, and you don't want to fix it.
This is a hard journey. What you're doing is hard. Most people aren't doing it. In fact, 99% of people are not on the same path as you. And that means that 99% are not going to get it. They are not going to understand. They are not going to approve. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to try to convince you to be like them. And you know what you have to do? You have to ignore it all. And you have to keep moving. And you have to remember that those people are those people for a reason, and you're you for a reason.
No one is born as a superhero, and nobody is naturally born as being a strong and confident personality. These are things that from time to time, from situation to situation, start to emerge from inside of you. Because it's growing inside of you based on how you are behaving towards yourself. Step by step, build something up about yourself, about your life, about your character and personality that will give you some strong fundament in order to tackle everything that this world is going to throw at you.
Anyone who has high value will be misunderstood. Anybody who has an amazing vision will be misunderstood. Dreamers, go-getters, people who are refusing to accept life just as it is, you will be misunderstood. I accept the challenge of being misunderstood. I accept the challenge of you guys not understanding what I see. I accept the challenge of you guys making fun of me when I'm not around. I accept the challenge that lies ahead. For you to find greatness in yourself, you're not going to find it by looking in a book or by even hearing me. But you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it.
Everyone should come to the realization that you are in complete and total control of how cool or how your life ends up being. Now, of course, everybody's got their own setbacks at different starting positions. It's kind of up to you, man, right? You got to play your cards right. So when I say eventually you're going to come to a realization that your life is in your own control, you should try to come to that realization as soon as impossible. Because if you get a grasp on that too late in life, then that's not a realization of an untapped potential. That's a realization of regret.
All those mornings that you don't want to get up, and every day you fucking fight not wanting to get up, and you do anyway. You chip another piece off fucking rock, and every day you can eat the right foods, and every day you go to train, you train harder and harder and harder and harder, and you get up early, and all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock up. Before you know it, you have this beautiful fucking piece of artwork that you built. And then once you get there, you see it, and it becomes real. Like, oh my God, I did this. But so many people aren't willing to chip away at that stone that is them.
As I know, this transformation is painful. You're not falling apart. You're falling into something different with a new capacity to be beautiful. When I think about capacity, I often think about goals, dreams, aspirations, the things that we seek to do, the places that we're trying to get to just in life. We got a lot of people with talent, skills, gift, intelligence. You like, man, they got it. But when you think about capacity is all the things that you're going to have to go through in order to acquire the things that you seek to acquire.
So you got to go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why?
Justice is when you get what you deserve. Mercy is when you don't get what you deserve. Grace is when you get what you don't deserve. Life is hard work, life is faith, and life is grace. Faith without works is dead. You just keep the faith and work really hard.
And when pessimism comes to your mind, you've got to educate pessimism, because pessimism is stupid. Pessimism tries to get you to believe that it's only half empty. Of course it's half empty, but it's not only half empty. It's also half full. I'm asking you to be in charge of your own mind, be in charge of your own destiny. I'm asking you to drive worry into a small corner. You gotta worry, Stone. All this negative stuff serves some purpose, but the key is for you to be the master, not the servant. It's all about concerns, and sometimes we all wonder, and sometimes there's a little crack of doubt. We worry a little, but I'm telling you, drive it into a small corner. Be times in your life where you don't want to wake up, you don't want to go to work. There's be times in life where you don't think you're good enough. In life, nothing is promised to us. And so we take that mentality and we use it as, woe is me. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. When times get hard and you're looking around and no one's there to pat you on your back, ain't no more motherfuckers to carry the damn boats. It's just you dragging it. Just dragging the boat by yourself. And all you want to do is stop. But you can't. So all you out here could just know one thing. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop it and done.
Your past doesn't define you. It actually sets you free. Because who you were and what you've done is still change in the making. Focus on your next chapter. Focus on the story you're writing right now. Don't sabotage who you can be because of who you used to be. You don't need to rewrite your past. Just do more with your present.
There's a great Chinese expression, a great old proverb. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
Just be the best version of yourself in anything that you do. You don't have to live anybody else's story. Sometimes people make it seem like you have to have certain prerequisites or a crazy life story in order to be successful in this world. But the truth is you really don't. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you have or don't have, what you lack. All you need to have is an undying passion for what you do and a relentless drive and the will to do whatever it takes to be successful.
There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save him. And that's when he becomes a man. And some boys never get there and stay children forever.
You're not allowed to give excuses, because excuses are a sign of weakness. We give no excuses when we fail. Failure is just fertilizer to help us grow as a team.
Guys, in life, winning isn't everything, but training to win is. Having the will to win, that is everything. Whether you win or not, you're gonna fail. You gotta get back up and try it again. But if you don't have the will to win, and you don't train to win, that's where you're really missing the mark, guys.
You ever had a gut feeling that maybe you were meant for more?
What if you were everything you could be? Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
We're all trying to improve ourselves. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect now, I never will be. You're not, and you never will be, but you're better than you were yesterday, and you're gonna be better tomorrow.
You know, the greatest lesson my mother ever taught me, when I was a kid, whatever I started, I had to finish it. Whether I got in the midst of something and then care for a coach, whether I got in the midst of an organization and then care for a leader, my mother would never let me start something and stop, because she would always say, the person that you will become by enduring the process is far more important than the person that you have to deal with in the midst of the process.
Your present or past results have absolutely nothing to do with what's going to happen from this point forward. You see, I kept thinking, well, gee, I'm such a mess up. You know, I've done everything wrong up till now. I'm 26, I'm broke, I'm not happy. Everything was wrong. That's all in the past. Every moment is a new moment.
Success is a strange thing. Presumably we want success because we think a more successful life will bring us more happiness, meaning, and fulfillment. Here's the problem. We sacrifice the thing we want, happiness, for the thing which is supposed to get it, success. Failure can make you miserable, but I'm not sure that success will make you happy. I am only worthy of love, acceptance, and belonging if I succeed. Now, powered by internal feelings of insufficiency, this person is driven to achieve many things. They're prepared to outwork, out-hustle, and out-suffer everyone else because they're not just running toward a life they want, they're running away from a life that they fear. Success and progress ameliorates the feelings of insufficiency. Therefore, success and progress have become prioritized above everything else.
Character is the core of a person, something they can't control, something that comes from deep within, and it causes people to have patterns of behavior. And you want to find people who have a strong character to associate with, as opposed to a weak character. And what a strong character is people who are adaptable, who are fluid, who can admit that they are wrong, who can learn from their experience, who can take criticism. So I want you to focus not on people's charming exterior, instead focus on that deep inner quality, that core, that character, because that's who they really are. Your character is creating what happens to you in life. There's the famous quote of the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, "Character is fate."
As I continue to experience life and find myself, I realize that hope isn't what I thought it was. Through a lot of sorrow, it's actually been redefined for me. And I ask myself the question, what if my pain is actually my hope?
So many of us are at war with ourselves within. We have that inner conflict because we're trying to portray this image that is, acceptable in the world around us, that we think is acceptable, instead of just staying true to you. And yes, when you stay true to yourself, people are gonna look at you a certain way. People are gonna try to knock you off your path. There's gonna be a lot of external things that, try to sway you this way or that way. But you gotta stay true to you.
So that's why I like to be isolated, and that's why this has helped me coming out here and being locked in an apartment on my own, building back up my leg, going from rehab to home, because there was no outsiders. It was isolation, it was visualization, it was motivation, and it was dedication. There was nothing else going on in my life, you know what I mean? To get to the pinnacle, it needs to be like that. It needs to be no outsiders. It needs to be, you need to have your team and your focus, and that's it. I don't need friends that aren't involved in this game or that aren't on the same path, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't make sense.
If you find yourself alone, you're not being isolated. You're not being forgotten. You're not being ignored. You're in the lab. But this isn't a thing where scientists walk in. No, this is where greatness is developed alone. Because in the battlefield of the mind is where you must be able to find peace. To sort out the traumas that you've been through as a child and be able to get over those things like hurdles. And after each one of those hurdles you cross, realize you're getting closer to your goal.
I'm capable of being on my own, way beyond how anybody else is. Yeah. So far beyond it. I can work on my own in solitude for an endless amount of time. I can outwork anybody in solitude. Why? Because I spent almost all of my time between the ages of 6 and 16 in my bedroom listening to audio tapes, right? Listening to audiobooks and throwing a tennis ball against the wall. But all of that discomfort and all of the challenges that I went through there are one of the things that I'm so proud of myself for now. Okay, so what if I look back and I said, well, the bullying that I went through and the challenges of feeling alone and being on the outside of social groups meant that I developed such attenuation and attention and focus and an ability to distill down what's happening socially, which is why I became one of the best club promoters in the UK for a decade and a half. Right. Because for all of my school life, I'd been obsessing over how Alex wears his tie. Maybe that's why he has friends and I don't have friends. Okay, so looking back, would I have rather had the friends and had the brother or sister and not developed this skill? I can't split test life, so I don't know. But my life's ended up pretty good, and I'm happy with it.
I have lost a lot of the friends, or almost all of the friends that I had when I started my journey. And the upside is people will come into your life to fill the vacuum that the other people left. But sometimes it doesn't happen immediately. And I think getting comfortable with having space is a good thing. And a lot of people have the impulse or urge to always have people around them, and I think it's to their own detriment. Because I think if you can spend time alone with your thoughts and be okay with just being you without other people, then you are more selective. And it's the same way with dating. Some people can't be alone. Some people can't be without a significant other. And so they just end up shacking up with the first person they see after they become single again, right? And it's because they have a fear of being alone more than they think that this person is really the best pick. And so a lot of ways are similar to dating with friends in that we can hold out and really just pick the best people. If you have lost friends during the process of the climb, I don't think it is something that you should lament or be upset about.
The commitments we keep to ourselves and what we do when no one's watching is the most persuasive evidence that governs everything we then do every day thereafter. And this is, for me, it was a huge revelation in my life, because you can look at certain people in your lives that are struggling in certain situations, and oftentimes it's a result of continually unkept commitments to themselves.
Most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever, because it's true. And I've been that guy. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from.
Where do you think opportunity plays into that?
Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like, if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, a married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz. If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell.
And my personal question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains, you can make decisions, you can study the plan, you can change your life, you can grow immensely in the next few years, you can make your dreams come true, you can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through, you can become healthy, you can become powerful. Why not you?
I had to believe in it, I had to feel it, I had to have faith in it for it to happen. If I didn't, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I go here. I call it the dark room, where you're alone. No cell phones, no music, no TVs, no computers. You by yourself. Very few people want to be alone anymore. They want to be around noise and people, and you can't think. Be alone, go to that dark space. In that dark space, shut life off for a little bit. Go to a dark place in your mind and figure out what the fuck you want to be. You don't know what you don't want, because you don't know what you want to be because you haven't spent time, real time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Trust me, and once you find that passion, that purpose, your goals, your purpose, everything will just start lining up.
My father told us that he's retiring from the game of basketball and that it was time for us to come back to America. I didn't want to come back, and my sisters didn't want to come back. But when it was time to start school, I thought that me and my sisters would be together, the same school, just like in Italy. But my sisters were older than I was. They were starting high school. It was very hard getting adjusted, simply because I had a lot of trouble understanding English and the slang. But one thing I had in common with some of my other students and classmates was basketball. And unfortunately, because of the lack of communication with my peers, I wasn't invited to parties or family gatherings on the weekend.
So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be. It's a great feeling to know that you set a goal for yourself and you were able to reach that goal and to knock it down.
Fear never goes away. You just learn to live with it. Here's what I can tell you for free. It's going to be much harder than you think. It's going to take much longer than you think. And you're going to suffer much more than you expect. But there will be nothing worth it more. What you've got to decide for yourself, do you want to be the person you want to be? If I remove the suffering from success, you lose character. That's why you suffer. It's because the journey you have to go through is life that's going to teach you, but it's going to give you depth and character. The question you have to ask for yourself is, do you want to be who you are, or do you want to be who you are becoming?
You're only as good as your last shot. You're only as good as your last sweat. A lot of people that live in past victories or past failures end up losing in life because they're reminiscing on the past. The past will not determine the future. You need to understand that every single day when you wake up, you have the ability to reset the clock and you have the ability to reset the direction of your life. If you were doing something yesterday that wasn't pushing you towards success, that doesn't define you. You can change, you can adapt, you can re-engineer your future by changing your habits.
True happiness is not contained in what you get. Happiness is contained in what you become.
Some people will never like you because I believe your spirit irritates their demons. You want to be strong? Learn how to be alone. Use this earth as fuel, as energy. Falling down, failing is part of life. Is life. Getting up every day, no matter what, is living.
It's okay if your path is different than what you envisioned. Trust all the delays, the detours, and the roadblocks. Even if you can't see where you're headed, just trust that many roads can take you where you want to go. Maybe it's taking you longer because you aren't cutting corners or manipulating people to get there. Maybe it's taking you longer because you're doing it right. Whatever it is, just keep going.
You don't have to know exactly what you want to be when you grow up. You just have to try different things, even if 99% of them fail. You only have to be right one time. You don't have to figure it all out in advance. You can be wrong. You can pick the wrong career. You can pick the wrong job. You can pick the wrong spouse. You can pick the wrong whatever. But you get it right one time, you're sick. But if you don't try, and if you don't go out there and try all these different things, you'll never get that one time.
What are you willing to do different? How willing are you? And a lot of people will put words to that, but only time will tell whether those words are followed up by the action that demonstrates the level of willingness that is required to actualize anything of meaning in this world.
Understand that you are going to take blows. You're not going to walk through this thing seamlessly, never getting hit by a punch, never losing money. It's going to happen. And it doesn't make you less. It's just going to help you understand and get hardened to the facts, things that you have to do in order to succeed. All I would urge you and tell you to do is understand that it does get darker before the dawn. And you must keep pushing through because you truly have no other choice.
I will do good, no matter what. No matter what happens to me, I will do good. No matter what happens to me. It's absolute rejection of the idea of being a victim. It's like, no matter how much suffering comes my way, no matter how much undeserved suffering comes my way, in spite of my innocence, I will not lose faith and I will do good.
Fear of not achieving your goal, what we call self-limiting beliefs, holds you back more than anything else. And your self-limiting beliefs are not based on reality. That's why you have to constantly think, if I had no limitations, what goals would I set for myself?
It's the ultimate passion, a passion for incredible success in every department of my life. That's the passion. But don't look down on some menial job you have to do to finally get you to where you want to go. No job is menial. Every job is noble. training life for pay, making a contribution to society.
Nobody changes until they change their energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life. Don't expect anything in your life to change if your environment is controlling your feelings and thoughts. And if your environment is controlling how you